ThedaCare is proud to partner with organizations like the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, and since we are in this amazing space, we brought in one of our experts, Dr. Ryan Wagner, a sports medicine physician with ThedaCare Orthopedic Care. Thanks for being with us, Dr. Wagner.
Very happy to be here.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to walk around these bases and talk through some of the most common injuries. You're going to explain those injuries and then maybe give us some ideas of ways to prevent them.
Sounds good.
All right, let's head to first. All right, first one here, we have sprains, strains, and fractures. I'm sure you probably see this quite often. What are some of the most common sprains and strains that you see, and maybe how do we prevent those?
With the spring coming up, we're going to see a lot of people of all ages really looking to get back outside. So whether it's on the playing field or even simply in your backyard, we see a lot of injuries. And a lot of times these things can happen from one, simply being in the winter, people aren't as active, so they get out there and they kind of go out there cold turkey, and that can really increase people's risks of injury.
So it sounds like these things happen often. How do you prevent them?
So I really encourage people to develop a comprehensive training program, so involving cardiovascular health as well as conditioning, flexibility, and strength. And I feel that really gives athletes as well as people of all ages, the chance to really recover and prevent injuries. Also, getting good sleep that is really overlooked and staying well hydrated throughout the year.
Oh, great tips. All right, let's head to second.
Sounds good. Overuse.
Okay, so overuse, I'm guessing overuse injuries when it comes to shoulders, throwing, things like that?
So one of the things we see in young sports and young athletes in general is overuse. And a lot of times it's sports specialization. And so with the competitive nature of sports in general, kids are practicing year-round and playing year-round, which can lead to overuse injuries.
So I have two pitchers at home, and this is something that we consistently worry about, is overusing and hurting their shoulders. Are there things that people are doing now to make sure that that's not happening?
They've implemented pitch counts on all levels. They limit the amount of throws that athletes are doing to decrease the injuries that are occurring. Research has really shown that it's helped quite a bit.
Oh, that's really great to hear. All right, let's go to third and see the next injury.
Sounds good.
All right, next injury we have, head injuries. So head injuries in baseball and softball, but I'm guessing other sports as well, right?
Yeah, a lot of times we see concussion is a very common injury that we see in sports, and these can occur in contact and non-contact activities. So a lot of times with baseball and softball, we think of it as a non-contact sport, but whether it be getting hit in the head with a ball, tripping, falling and hitting your head, or even colliding with another teammate, concussions can happen pretty regularly.
And what are some things that we can do to prevent concussions?
Yeah, I think wearing good protective equipment, especially with batting helmets, making sure they fit well, can probably be one of the most preventative things we can do to prevent concussion.
Yep, and young girls are still wearing face masks as well.
That's correct.
All right, let's head home.
Sounds good. Other injuries.
Okay, I feel like baseball and softball is one of those sports where kind of anything can happen, those really random injuries. So how do you help prevent those extra things that might be happening?
Yeah, great question. I think one of the best ways is to stay physically active, throughout the year. One of the other main things that I tell athletes is really not pushing through pain. If you're having pain, that's not normal. And so I really tell people to back off if they're developing pain with activity.
Which is something we really have to reiterate in our young athletes.
Yes.
We also know that sports medicine is not just for athletes. It's also for people doing everyday things like gardening, yard work. So how do we make sure those types of injuries don't happen?
A lot of people have uneven ground in their yards. And so we see a lot of injuries in clinics where they've stepped on uneven ground and sprained their ankles. A lot of times people like to do more than they're used to doing. So, rather than, lifting 2 bags of grass clippings, maybe lift 1 and take 2 trips. If you're lifting, heavy plants and things like that around your garden, really try to focus on lifting with those legs rather than the back.
Okay, as we're hoping for good weather, these are wonderful tips. Okay, so finally, when people need orthopedic care, how can they get it?
Over at ThedaCare, Orthopedic Spine and Pain, we have a walk-in orthopedic clinic that's staffed with a provider 7 days a week, and we see anything from head to toe. So we'd be happy to see you over there at any time.
All right, thanks for being with us, Dr. Wagner.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.